Hey guys, my name is Bilal and this is your 17th Laravel 5 tutorial. In this tutorial, we will be learning about Hey guys, my name is Bilal and this is your 17th Laravel 5 tutorial. In this tutorial, we will be learning about Crud. And Crud is the essence of every application we do. When you do build web application, you're gonna realize that everything you do is based upon this concept called Crud. Crud is basically all about managing resources in your application. Crud is all focused about tasks. We either create a task, delete, update, or edit a task. Now CRUD stands for create, read, update, destroy. So we will be creating resources, reading, updating, and destroying a resource. For example, you may be creating items, you may be reading items, updating them, and destroying them. The U in CRUD stands for update, which means that sometimes you may need to take an existing resource, make some changes to it, and then save it again to the database. That is updating a resource. So in this tutorial, we will only be setting our CRUD in our application. From the previous tutorial, we have a database table named data. What we will be doing that using CRUD, we will insert some data into this table. We will read data from this database table. We may update some record and we will delete or destroy some record from it. So in the next few tutorials, we will be all focused around CRUD. So now, as I have said that we have a database table, we now need a way for the user to insert some record into it, read a record, update some record, or delete a record. So first of all, we will control or handle every record in a database table. So for this, we need a controller. So let's create a controller. So we will use command line to generate a controller. So do you guys remember how we created a model in our exact previous tutorial? So we created a model using make command in the exact previous tutorial. So similarly, we will also be making a controller using make command. But now I will be using command line to make a controller. So first of all, we need to access our project location. And my project location is in C drive, then XAMPP, htdocs, and Laravel 5. Press enter. So now in order to tell Laravel that the controller we are going to make is a CRUD controller. So just type php artisan make, and here we will type controller because we are going to make a controller, and I'm going to name it as data controller. Now in order to tell Laravel the controller we are going to make is a CRUD controller, we need to type -- resource, and that CRUD controller will control everything related to creating, reading, updating, and destroying. So in Laravel, we call such controllers as resource controllers. It is the exact same thing as normal controller, but it gives us a whole bunch of functions that are already been done. So now press enter. And it created a controller successfully. So now let's go to the controller we have just created. So open your Sublime Text Editor and you should know where your controllers are. So it is inside this app directory, then this HTTP, and in this folder called controllers, we have saved all of our controllers. So just expand it, and this is the controller named as data controller we have created right now. So just open it. So as you can see here that this controller, which is a CRUD controller, is a way more advanced than the normal controller. It created automatically a whole bunch of functions for us, and they all are CRUD operation that we will be using. And the commands here shows the functionality of each function. For example, this function called index will display a listing of the resource. So the index function will show all of our data. And now this function called create will show the form for creating a new resource. So let's say we want to add or create a new record, so we will use this create function, and this store function will store all of our data. So let's say we submit a form and we want to save it in a database or store it in a database. So we will use this function called store, which stores a newly created resource in a database. And also we can show a particular record using this show function, and also we can edit the data using this edit function. We can also edit and save data using this update function. And similarly, we can also destroy, which is the last word of Crud, D, which stand for destroy. So these are all the functions we need to perform a Crud. So we will be discussing each of these functions in detail, but now we have all of these functions to perform a Crud. Now one last thing we need to do is to create a route to all of these things. To all of these things we have. But one thing I should tell you that each of these functions perform its own task by a certain kind of HTTP request. We will cover different types of requests in the next tutorial, but let me tell you which types of requests these functions have. For example, store needs to be a post request, and our update needs to be a patch request. Similarly, delete will have its own request, which will also be a HTTP request. But how do we come to know the types of requests each function possesses? So Laravel makes it so simple. So let's jump to our route file and see how simple it is. Open your route and then this web.php. So we already have 4 routes here. Now we need to create routes for all of the functions we have in the Crud controller or resource controller. In Laravel, we do it with the help of just a single line of code, because resource controller or Crud controllers are so common. So in Laravel, we do it by typing route, and instead of get, we type resource. And now just by typing resource, Laravel automatically comes to know all the commands we have in the controller. Now first of all, it needs a URL. So just give it a URL. I will give it a URL of data. And now with this URL, it will access all of the functions that we have in the controller. And now the next parameter it takes is the name of the controller. So we have a controller name, data controller, which we have created in this tutorial. And remember that this backslash here is not compulsory to type. You may type it or you may skip it. Both ways will work. So I'm not going to use here backslash. And now just by using this word resource, we have got access to every function in the controller named data controller, and we can access each of these functions in the data controller using this URL, which we have specified here as data. And now finally save it. And now I'm going to show you all of these routes that we have here. So just open your command line or terminal if you're on Mac, and make sure that you are in your project location. So we can list all the routes that Laravel knows. So just type here PHP artisan route, and we need to list all of our route. So to list it, just type list and press enter. Now this list is in a very poor condition in my computer, but what I want to show you is this, that this store function accepts a get or head request, and this create function accepts also a get or head request, and now this update function accepts a put or patch request, and this destroy function accepts a delete request or method. And similarly, this get function also accepts a get request. So in the next tutorial, we will cover different types of these methods and requests we have right here. So up till then, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.